Hi guys, this is my first attempt at making a video. I wanted to introduce myself to our team. So hi, I'm Natalie. I'll make sure that I'm looking at the camera. And I wanted to talk to you guys about my why as to why I started Beachbody and why I think that this can be a lifelong journey and why we could all be successful doing it. So my story, it goes a little something like this. I was an only child, and I had a pretty good upbringing. My parents were, worked really hard. They worked a lot, and I didn't really have anyone to play with or watch me, so I would go and stay at other friends' houses and stuff like that and want to be around their families. And I don't know if that has anything to do with what the decisions I made, but by the time I was 16, I, became very heavily addicted to drinking. And by the time I was 18, I was in a car accident and I broke 9 bones in my body, and I got 2 pins in my back, and I was prescribed oxycodone, and from there on, I was off to the races, they say. By the time I was 21, I was divorced and really sick, very emaciated, dying, and I found heroin. I had been on oxycodone for about 3 years at that point. My bones were really brittle. I had broken my nose in that time frame. I fractured my pelvis again. I was in really toxic relationships. I was dating someone for 2 years after that divorce, who over 2 years, and we just basically beat the crap out of each other in a drug-induced coma. And my life was really horrible. Fast forward to 24, I had my 4th overdose, literally, and I died legally. I crashed my car into a telephone pole. I wasn't fully dressed. I don't remember that night that I was on a run. And someone called the cops when my car crashed, and they took me in the ambulance. They gave me a Narcan shot and gave me a defibrillator and shocked me back to life. And here I am. And that was February 4th of 2012. So it's almost going to be 2 years ago that my life has changed. I say that February 7th is my sobriety date. That's when I got sober. I had no substances in my body. I declined medication at the hospital, at the detox. For some reason, I didn't want to be detoxed. I just told them no, and here I am today. So my why is that if I could change my life and be a totally different person today, move to another state, uproot my life. I was transported down to Florida. I was put in treatment here. I only got treatment for less than 2 weeks. That's all my insurance could pay for, and I stayed down here and started a new life. And now, almost 2 years later, my life is totally different. It is an anonymous program that I'm a part of, but I sponsor 6 women, which means I help them get sober and stay sober and show them how I live. And if I can do that, with drugs and alcohol, I know that I can do that with Beachbody too. And people tell me that I am a very relatable person. I'm really easy to talk to, and I like to make people feel welcome and feel a part of, because I know what it feels like to feel like an outcast my whole life, even though I had every reason to fit in. Something inside me just told me I couldn't fit in, I wasn't worth fitting in, and I just have that passion to make people feel understood. My greatest desire in life is to sit with someone who feels like no one understands them and no one can help them, and to look them in the eyes and tell them that I can, or that we can together. And this 12-step program showed me that. It showed me how to be a friend, how to be a mentor, how to love. I didn't know how to do any of those things before. And it's funny because, I spent my first year sober. I started sponsoring at 3 months. That just means I learned how to not focus on myself. And that first year, all I did was be helpful to others that I neglected myself. I ate crap, I smoked way too much, and tried all these prescription legally from the doctor, you know, to get my mood stable, antidepressants, all these things, and I was unhappy, and I was overweight, and I felt really tired, and my bones felt really weak, and I just pumped my body up with crap after, you know, starving it and only feeding it drugs for 7 years. And now, having almost 2 years sober, I've been paleo for a while, and I started with fitness a couple months ago. My fiance, Matt, he's over there in the corner. He showed me how important fitness was to him in his life, and I started to follow him, and I got really frustrated. At first, I just tried to go to the gym. I didn't want to learn anything from him. I didn't want to listen to him. I just would go to the gym to prove to myself that I could work out. I didn't change my diet or anything. Within 2 months, I was like, well, I want some results. Why am I not losing weight? I'm like breaking a sweat here. And I started changing my diet, and I started realizing, like, you know, I think I have an allergy to some foods, possibly gluten. It didn't really click. It was more of like I took the actions really not knowing what was wrong. But I've had psoriasis my whole life. It was terrible. I had it in my head. They used to make fun of me when I was a kid. I was like tortured, called Gumby. And like people would just make fun of my psoriasis. And now that I've been paleo, my psoriasis is almost gone. So, I mean, what I love so much about paleo and what I try to share with others is that, you know, all these things like peanut allergies and lactose intolerance and gluten intolerance, those things have developed over, you know, as society has developed. And those are things that are man-made. You know, we've learned how to break down those things that are naturally, you know, cultivated in farms and come from the ground and things like that. We've learned to, you know, modernize them to mass produce them, and they contain things that are not good for us. So I'm a huge fan of paleo. I'm going on a million tangents, but I'm really excited to be a part of our team. I love Amy. Amy's probably the one I know the best on this team, just from being an outsider looking in and the conversations I've had with her. She tried to get me to join a year ago, and I was a huge skeptic. I was really skinny still at that point, putting on weight from being on drugs. But I was a huge skeptic. I'm like, I'm not buying into this pyramid marketing crap, and I know it's not that now. I know it's definitely not what we're about. We're about changing lives and helping people. And from the business aspect, I believe that we're about finding it within ourselves to create a business and be successful. I mean, how many people in this world have the actual drive and ambition to be successful? And success is not earned overnight. I have had this innate, deep-rooted passion my whole life that I knew that I was destined for greatness, and I tried to kill myself slowly and quickly through, you know, blotting out who I knew I was meant to be, because it was like too much. It was too much for me to like comprehend. I just knew that I was destined for something great, and I like didn't want to come to terms with it. And we're all destined for greatness, but you know, my motivator is my passion to know, like, I'm destined to do great things in this world, and it's not because I want, you know, recognition for it, like, oh, look at me, I'm so great. No, I'm destined to do great things in this world because I know that I'm destined to help a lot of people through my pain and my struggle and my growth. And that's pretty much it. That's my story in a nutshell. And I'm really, really excited to be a part of our family and get to know more. I'm really bad with social media. I learned with Facebook because that's my, you know, my era. I'll be 26 years old in February 16th. I was born in '88. So Facebook was all around in high school, and I get it, but I don't really know anything past that, you know. Networking on Instagram and whatnot. I know that I'm one of those people. Like, if I see a product and I see someone selling it on Instagram, like, I'm all for buying it. So if I'm one of those consumers, I know that there are consumers out there just like me. So like Amy said in our webinar last night, it's all about me doing the work and figuring it out and putting my all into it. But a lot of it I like to happen organically because I believe in, I have a lot of faith. I'm not a religious person. I just believe in like the law of attraction and reciprocity, and I know that I've done a lot to put a lot of good into this world. I think it outweighs all the bad I did. I'm hoping it does. But a lot of good things are coming my way, and I know that Beachbody's one of them. So thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.